Good day, everybody, and hello and welcome to Versus once more. We have James playing against Kieran, two of our commentators playing against one another, and it seemed apt to just invite one of them along. So James has come and joined us. Hey up.
Oh yeah, hello, welcome. Good day to A up. So we're just doing the whole gamut of geography about where we are
That's it.
today.
That's right.
Oh,
Do you want to talk through your deck?
yes, I would love to. This is a slight variation of my historic Esper Control deck in that I've added red into it. For only for like four or five, maybe six spells off the top of my head. Just a few of the more power ones to try and close out games a little bit faster. So points for me are quite a wide spread actually. Only using nine of them though. Three for Demonic Tutor, then one each for Treasure Cruise, True Name, Dig Through Time, Mana Drain, Tainted Pact, and for Lingus, which is one of the red cards I've added. Deck was partly inspired by the fact that Kieran, up until this week, I think, was playing Jeskai Black. So I was like, oh, let's play Esper Red and Jeskai Black, and they're the same, but they're different, and that should be fun. And I got
Yeah,
really excited when we got paired against each other, and then he's not playing; he's just playing Jeskai again. So
yeah, that's true. So yeah, Kieran is playing Jeskai Black without the black. So it would have been cool to have Esper Red against Jeskai Black, but that's not what we've got. I think last time around when Kieran played his four-color deck, he got a bit frustrated with inconsistency of mana base, so has trimmed it down to three.
right.
Um, but Kieran's points are Ancestral Recall, as per usual, Mystical Tutor to go and get Ancestral Recall, and Dig Through Time to dig to Ancestral Recall. Uh, he's nothing if not one-dimensional, this boy.
That's we can see me struggling here a bit with the Multi 5. So not feeling great when you're behind on cards in the control mirror, but I do love a control mirror. One of the things I always enjoy when playing Magic is games that have a lot of decision points,
Yeah.
and in match and control mirrors often do have some of the most.
Mm.
Although I am immediately quite a long way behind.
This is the worst thing that could happen probably on turn one when
Yep.
you're on the play and you've mulled to five. You don't want
Yep.
your opponent to just slam a library.
No, because you can spend like a good 8 turns of this game, unless someone has a nuts draw, just like crafting a hand and cantripping and keeping the scariest threats away. So, and library just lets you basically draw a card for free every turn if you're on the draw and not under too much pressure. So I am not feeling. I've not yet started my turn two, and I think in my head I'm already on like a 9 out of 10 to lose this game.
Yes, yeah, understandable. I mean, if anybody wants to see why Library of Alexandria is such a ridiculous card, this game is probably going to be the example.
Yes. I do at least have a threat though. So if Kieran's just kept, oh, I've got library, nothing else matters, and then gets really unlucky, you never know. I might be able to close this out quick enough. Like if he has to dig and Ledger Shredder
Yeah,
gets bigger, you never know.
really unlucky. Yeah, that's the plan. Cool.
Yeah, that's my main plan. Hope my
Yeah.
opponent is very unlucky.
By the way, the art on that drown from the lock is incredible. I
It's
love it.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. I do love one of the things I do love about the deck is the one I've spent the time and effort to get the fancy versions of all the cards of, and some of them have some just really cool artwork that you've never seen. In a way, I'm glad I didn't keep my 7 because it did have a Scalding Tarn in it, which is my only non-pimped out card in the entire deck, so it's my eternal shame.
That's a good enough reason to mull a hand.
Obviously, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Kieran already 2 cards up and 1 life point down. Not really a big deal. But yeah, the Tirana Lockhart's really cool. It's one of the special guests just adds some like cool opportunities to do new artwork for existing cards. So there's quite a lot of them in here. I think I was on Expressive Iteration in this deck as well at this point, so like that's a similar one. Cool special guest from wherever it was.
I mean, you know, I'm very much of a budget player, so these special guests and like what is it? They've done the secret layers of loads of cards and stuff. They don't interest me, but for players like you that want to just bling out your deck with the best art and the shiniest art, it's great.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. So it's a nice thing to have. But yeah, nice for it to be not essential. I wouldn't want to be doing this to all of my decks, but this one is my baby, and I love it. So I'll
Nice.
treat it as such.
Fairy Mastermind's pretty cool on against the library.
It would be if he didn't keep doing it in my end step.
Yeah.
It's just
You
frustrating.
just need to say to him, "Can you just do it in your turn, please?" Although Kieran's surely like he's half his deck's card draw,
That's true.
but it's not sticking around.
No, well,
Oh, maybe
it is.
maybe it is. Maybe it is.
It's almost as much that I think doing anything to stop this thing would, like, I mean, he can't draw from library, and has to tap out, and then trigger my ledger shred. All of that seems terrible.
Yeah, Nathan's basically your not Nathan. Who was it that? Is it Nathan? Yeah. Anyway,
You're Nathan.
Fairy mastermind. The
Oh
one
no,
that,
the fairy Shota, I think.
okay.
One of the, yeah.
Yeah, this one's your potential way back into the game, right?
Yes, potentially. Like if it doesn't die, I can make us both draw some cards at end step, which will help me dig. Yes, potentially, but the odds. I feel like the odds of it living are slim. I can remember feeling like, oh, there's no way I'm winning. There's no way I'm winning this entire game. So like, I'm trying to not channel that energy into right now, because I'm looking at it and going, no, that's right. You can draw 2 cards at end step. Kieran's already going to have 7 in hand, so I'll have to discard one of them. It's basically like you're like a 3/4.
He doesn't get any more value once he's at 7.
Oh dear.
If only that was the rule in Magic, that you can't draw up to beyond 7.
Yeah, that would be. No, I don't want that actually.
It would be different.
I want to draw all the cards.
I was gonna say you are not the right person to be talking to about these kinds of silly rule changes.
Not even a little. Actually, the maximum hand size should be 10.
Okay, all right. You can start on 7, but you can go up to 10 if you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, fair.
Yeah, so it feels like Kieran's just like, I'm not under too much pressure. I'm just going to keep trying to craft my hand until I'll eventually hit some threats. Then you'll be like, won't be able to deal with so many of them because you don't have enough cards in hand. Won't be able to keep protecting your creatures, etc., etc. Just the raw card advantage has still got to be his game plan here.
Yeah, well, as soon as Kieran starts actually doing stuff, the library gets switched off. So.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a nice classic pass.
No.
It's a good one.
Why use its flash ability when you can just get rid of the mastermind?
Do get a little bit of extra cards in. Oh, and there's the card you've chosen for the artwork. just sneaking in there, little drown in the lock. Damn. So I think that might be a fatal push as well. And I've just not drawn the right parts of my deck to hope to try and like catch up here. It's just drown the lock's a counter spell at least, but like 2 creature removal spells.
Murktide draws a counter spell, attracts counter spells.
That's true. It might resolve. Why did I not? I could cast it. Maybe I felt like I had to leave out drown in the lock. I'm trying to remember now. I could have cast Murktide, and it would have had. Yeah, it's probably good that I didn't give.
Yeah, that was a good shot. Yeah, that art does look sweet. I'm going to show you the original one.
Yeah. The bit of the interesting thing about this matchup is, and maybe this is me, like, again, still being a bit scared to be too aggressive, even though I've added red to be a bit more aggressive. Just feeling the need in this matchup to hold up counterspell rather than present an extra threat. But again, that's arguably not the right plan when you're so far behind on cards.
I can see that, yeah. But then again, you know that like once you pull the trigger, Kieran's almost certainly sculpted the hand that he wants to just counter whatever you've got going on.
Yep.
So, but yeah, maybe you just hope that he's not drawn what he needs to counter your stuff. I don't know.
Yep. Well, back to my original plan. Hope he gets really, really unlucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Memory lapse.
And this is me hoping this is the one that puts on top or bottom, and no, it's not. It just goes straight on top, and it's rubbish now. It's really that.
That's such a good answer to Murktide. It's like, oh, you've just exiled your bin. Great.
Yeah, memory lapse can be really brutal just because of the tempo element to it as well. Like, so when you're a bit behind and you're just, there's another dead creature. This game is like a good 95% on that one, pretty certain, if not more. But yeah, memory lapse. If you're just say you're a little bit behind and you're just countering, I don't know, a planeswalker that they'll cast again next turn, or or a threat that doesn't, is just delaying a turn. doesn't feel like all that great. But when you get it there and you just completely tempo someone out of a turn,
Yeah.
it's really good. Especially it's really good early on counter spell when someone's trying to cantrip and dig for their second or third land, and you're just like, nope, just draw that cantrip again. Don't draw a land that you need. Don't draw a threat that you need. Just keep digging.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing in my hand does anything here, unfortunately. So there's you can.
That's one of your favourites, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I do like that one. It's in my Legendary Humans deck, and I think in the.
Are you playing that here as part of the red flag?
No, this deck definitely never, ever wants to introduce the initiative or the monarchy into the game. Even though I've gone more aggressive, I'm not confident about being able to keep hold of it if I introduce it.
You're still quite creature light.
Yeah, I mean, there's 18, 19, so there's still there's a reasonable amount of them. But I don't like more ways to add advantage. Oh dear. More ways to there we go. More ways to add advantage, like to card power and ratio and card advantage to the monarchy and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like, I feel like I should be better than a lot of people at drawing more cards, filtering my deck out, like getting the good stuff out. So
don't want to give them the opportunity to claw it back with the advantage that you expect to gain.
Exactly. There's not many like I want to do things that are one-sided. I don't have like any quote unquote fair cards that I'm
like
trying
Fairy
to
Mastermind. We could both draw a card.
Yeah.
Oh, I get an extra one.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I didn't have Flash, I wouldn't play that though. So there's very like simple like I wouldn't play Malcolm, who is 2-mana Flash with like a loot on damage, because that's not quite like control-y enough.
Right. Yeah.
And like that's just a bit tempo. Fairy Mastermind's one of the borderline keeps in this. I think it wants a more tempo aggressive deck than I'm probably playing, but I do quite like it, so I'm keeping it in for now.
Yep. Sweet.
See how it goes.
Interesting that I heard some of the murmurings in this event where people had made some changes to decks based on the aggro decks that have shown up the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
Of which I like to think that I'm part of. But
yeah, definitely.
We've had, I guess Ember has always been playing aggro pretty much, and has been the aggro deck generally, right? And then we've got Niall and me both turning up with aggressive decks, quite different, but I think Jay mentioned that they'd made some changes, or brought deck and made some changes based on aggro matchups. So kind of cool that the meta's kind of shifting a little bit with new players being added in.
Yep, definitely. An interesting thing here is that Kieran's on a multi-6 and he just accidentally revealed the Stifle that was his 7th card that he drew. So he just kind of played through it. So now he's got the brain check.
Put it to the bottom?
I don't know he's done that.
Or is it to psych you out and go,
exactly.
Surely the right thing's to put it to the bottom, but what if he didn't?
Yeah, I honestly, I think if I remember rightly, you can see here's a missing.
My hand's
all fetch lands, so I'm just like, well, I can't.
Well, I'm fetching on turn 1 then, I guess. Yeah.
Which is like not a terrible idea against Kieran anyway. He plays Stifle, right?
Okay.
But there are more powerful things in my deck to do than fetching, but obviously just a strip mine is good. But we're losing some value here. Like in my hand there's a lightning bolt, I think, so I could get value here, but I'm not counting on that against Kieran. So I'm potentially losing out the value of just getting a surveil land.
The surveil.
Because this is almost like free value as well, because I've been scared of this Stifle. Kieran can now like feel fairly free to play this Ponder, rather than having to even if he has put it bottom, do you pretend that you've still got it by holding up the blue if I have not cracked the fetch already?
I love that. The mind games. Maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll just reveal price of progress from my hand in a future game and be like, look, I've got it. You're gonna have to play weirdly now.
Yeah, I accidentally drop it as you try and put it on the bottom, but then it'll be like, actually, do I want to put this on the bottom?
Yeah, pick it back up again and then shuffle it in. Do I have it or don't I have it?
Oh, who knows? Here's the same problem. I'm about to play an ad, so I'm like, I don't want to. I'm worried that I feel like I'm cheating if I fetch now because I'm scared of that Stifle that I've seen. But maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just playing right into his hand. It's awful.
I mean, just for everybody else out there, absolutely should have been a reshuffle and redraw from from Kieran to
Oh, 100% on the rules point of view.
avoid these shenanigans. But it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And I honestly, part of me feels like it ended up being better for him that I was playing around it so much because I've just lost a bunch of advantage of doing what I might do or not do at instant speed. Because even then, like, he had the blue on tap. So once he doesn't stifle this, I'm pretty confident he's given it. You know, he did put it back.
Gone.
He doesn't have it anymore. Yeah, it's a bit of a. And this is an interesting one because I've basically not done anything on turn 3, which tells Kieran I've got a pretty reactive hand, whereas he's had 2 cantrips already. So although like it's pretty even in general, he should have a better hand than me at this stage again, unless I've got to fall back on that. Hopefully, my opponent's really unlucky element.
Mm-hmm.
See if that's
Kieran doesn't have to tutor for his surveil lands either; just gets them for free.
Badlands, good.
Well, I've definitely got my red sports.
Yeah, you're not tutoring for your jewels.
No. It is interesting. You might be able to hear the slight sadness in my voice. I wasn't playing an island, which is what happens when there's a Badlands or a time or something like that. This doesn't make blue mana. I'm going to cast a spell. I'm finally going to cast a spell, and thankfully it does resolve. There's no hull breach or anything like that.
You're trying to catch up with all of this card, this hand sculpting with a brainstorm. It does do that.
Yes. And Tainted Pact is like a kind of a
when you don't have a fetch land to shuffle them back away, you just
get rid of
so
them.
funny.
It's the awkward way to get rid of it.
Love that.
It's still fine.
Oh, Kieran's looking at countering it, maybe.
Yes, it was me helpful having Japanese versions of cards. Like, what does that card actually do?
I mean, reading the old version of the wording doesn't really tell you what it does either. Ooh, is he going to steal it?
He wants to steal a possible demonic tutor?
I don't steal it.
Oh no.
No, it just gets countered. Okay.
Good, because I had no idea what I was doing.
Didn't know what it was going to do anyway, so that's probably for the best.
So it's all fine. Fetch.
We had the fetch anyway. We just.
17.
If I remember rightly, there was quite a lot of lands in that brainstorm, so we were
Okay.
getting rid of it one way or another.
I've already got my bulk, so let's get
I think I'm just getting a surveil land here. And again, the Wooded Foothills is awkward because it only gets the only blue sources it gets are red blue. There's no green in my deck.
Right.
So
Yes.
it's definitely like the worst fetch for me to have, and I've already got 2 red sources, and I aim single white and double black.
What, are you playing? I assume you're playing 1 basic land in the deck. Are you playing?
Oh,
any?
I'm playing 4 basics.
Okay.
1 for each colours.
Okay, you have got 1 of each.
Yeah. But there's no point in fetching a basic mountain against Kieran. We both said this. Like, neither of us have to play around Price of Progress or Blood Moon or anything like that. We
Yep.
just
Going.
fetch wherever we want.
Sculpting hands and mana bases. Let's go.
Exactly. Like total greed all the way through. This is an interesting point because I could have remanded this Mystical Tutor because he is tapped out, but then doing it again in the upkeep, he's almost certainly getting recall here, so like it doesn't really matter because he's still going to have the mana to it on his turn. So I decided not to, and I think it was right, but it was a slight decision point that maybe it was right to here just to save a bit of time. But
It just saves you saves a mana for the next turn, right?
yeah, which is probably not worth it.
Doesn't seem like it to me, but what do I know? I've never played any deck like this before.
Yeah, that brainstorm wasn't great, but it did let me get rid of a Fire Covenant, which isn't super helpful again against Kieran's deck. But both of us are like throwing away as much of our removal as we can. Like even Fury was just a not good enough threat. You saw in Kieran surveilled it away earlier. Just who cares? It's a 3/3. It dies to all the removal in the world. 5 mana 3/3 is not really worth it. Ooh, is there a stifle? No, it's just a recall.
It's just scaring you. Ooh, okay, nice. Is this? Oh, you don't choose until resolution.
No, you choose as you cast it. Yeah,
Okay,
you have to
just
declare
when you
target.
do. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so
counter
this is
draw.
countered. I would expect so. Yeah, this is heads up play from Kieran. It didn't end up mattering. He did have the blue anyway to replicate loose focus, but responding to the fetch meant I didn't have the second mana to have to replicate the loose focus. This is a because I'm obviously not feeling in a great spot when
Then I'll cast Treasure Cruise.
yeah, my opponent's just resolved the recall. I'm going to try and crash Treasure Cruise, do my worst version of it.
That's a recall.
It is a recall.
So I have 1 card left. I will leave Brainstorm.
It is. You can already see Kieran bringing that spell pierce to the front.
It's not a resolved
No.
recall.
And so that's six cards have lost out to Kieran on that turn. It feels like to me. So again, not feeling great here, but at least I still have a reasonable amount of cards in my hand. I'm not too behind on mana. It's finally a target for this lightning bolt, which has been stuck in my hand since turn one.
Huzzah! The removal.
And this is risky. If Kieran's got a second spell and can discard a non-land spell, then that saves it. But thankfully he didn't. Yeah, I'm pretty certain.
But like, it's a weird one, right? Because Kieran doesn't really want to use premium counter spells to save a Ledger Shredder necessarily. When, like you say, your deck does have quite a lot of just removal that is going to be fairly dead.
Yes. But someone does have to win at some point, right?
Nah. That's not what we're here for.
But even here, I chose to reanimate the Ledge Shredder rather than the Fury. When there were the 2 options I could pick for.
Yeah, it's more.
The Fury just didn't do anything. And maybe this Ledger Shredder draws me a card or 2. I think I've got 2 in hand and 1 to land.
I was going to say Ledger Shredder doesn't do anything either because neither of you are casting any spells.
Oh god, what's this? I can't remember. Solitude. Okay, Remanded Solitude.
Solitude back into hand.
Let's see what that was. I'm too fast for my own good. Oh, it's Jace. Jace is very good.
I don't think so.
Out of favour a little bit compared to how it might have been like 5 years ago, but Jace the Mind Sculptor, if it resolves, is a very powerful card.
The Mind
And it's even better when he's a fox.
Brainstormer.
Yeah, just repeatedly brainstorm. No fear of Lightning Bolt here. Just got to get the cards. And yeah, that's Spell Pierce, Force of Will, and Force of Negation, and Mental Misstep in my hand. So can certainly counter some things next turn.
Yeah, you have protection for Jace.
It just depends quite on how. It's just a really awkward set of things. You're trying to guess on what they will and won't have. I think I picked Force and Misstep here. Or Force, Misstep, and maybe it's the Spell Pierce. Yep.
Well,
Into 2 life.
That's a 1 mana thing.
Yep. That was the slight upside of a lot of the things that deal 3 damage are 1 mana. And we'll just remove all of the things. And here, someone actually cast 2 spells. A Ledger Shredder has triggered. How exciting for us all.
Oh yeah, that is exciting. Made my day.
I mill a Force Negation. This gets a
Yes, I have no cards down, so it's just whenever a Ledger Shredder triggers, I just mill a card now.
And then I mill a Scrublander. It doesn't get counted.
Yes, because I cast 2 spells that turn as well. So just I basically undid the rest of my brainstorm, and now I've got new cards to look at.
I'm going to brainstorm.
So again,
Jace to play with.
exactly from feeling quite far behind to like recall versus failed Treasure Cruise.
That's a Shelley.
That is a Shelley, and if this doesn't die, this is very good against Kieran. A lot of card draw, softens up my life total a lot when I'm brainstorming with Jace every turn. Trying to work out how to tap my mana. There we go. And just basically riding Jace the Mind Sculptor here, and hoping to ride him all the way to victory.
Who knew that was a match made in heaven? Jace and Sheldred.
Yes, bestest buddies. I'm fairly certain that's how it is in the lore as well.
The lore. When Jace became a fox at Blueborough, Sheldred turned up and was like, "Mate, I want you on my team. Let's team up." What's this? Triumph of St. Catherine.
Ajani. Get a tiny bit of value here, stifling the Ajani trigger, which is not terrible. Just turns Ajani into a 1/2.
How's another cat gonna die now?
Mill a Consider.
And Kieran reminded me of my trigger. He cast 2 spells.
I will brainstorm, which puts me up to 20.
Gaining a bunch of life here, brainstorming, gaining a bunch of life again. Feeling good. Good old Fox. Fox is helping. But Triumph is a scary card. I can't quite remember what it does.
I put them that way around.
Apart from being a 5/5 lifelink, it comes back. But I don't think it does anything else on the board. So it's just representing like a solid blocker. But I do have a lot of removal. Clearly not enough because I've not removed it. No,
It's
Kieran not happy.
It's over. He's done.
And that's the interesting thing. A lot of people will be like, you play to 0, you play to you're dead. But sometimes in these control mirrors, you just know you're dead.
Yeah. And
like,
also,
you can...
you do want to finish your match, right? Before time gets called.
Exactly. Yeah. This is not an early scoop when you're like, oh, this is a control mirror that is probably going to be at least a 40-minute game if we go to game 3, which I think I'm going to go to game 3 here. So let's just maximize my chances of doing so.
Well, you did similar in game 1. You weren't dead to Comet. You were just way too far behind.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just keep going. I really love control mirrors though. Even back when I used to play standard, I remember like boarding in what I think it was Sphinx of the Final Word from Oath of the Gatewatch. It was just a 7-mana 5/5 flyer that can't be countered and said spells you control can't be countered. It was just in the sideboard every time when you played the control mirror. It was very satisfying.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think the Jace was like,
I remember playing Dovin's Veto quite a lot, but that was the disgusting time of Teferis and Dovin's Vetoes.
You say disgusting, I say beautiful.
Oh right, yeah.
Paradise
Well,
Summer.
I enjoyed it for myself, like when I played it, but it was disgusting for everybody else, and for me when I played against it. To be fair.
Fun is a zero-sum game, clearly, in Magic the Gathering.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, you always like a good game 3 in a control match. You never quite know. And this hand is super awkward. Because if I remember right, I have a cantrip and a Tameo, but my only blue source is tapped. I'm on the draw.
Is that a
little
one-lander?
bit of greed. I think it is. And there's another cantrip. So get rid of things that aren't lands. Maybe that's a land on the... No, it's not. It's a Wrath of the Skies. Yeah, I am... no more lands in hand now, so there's a little bit of greed here, but there is a sleight of hand and there is a Tameo. So hopefully, top to... Oh, never didn't have it.
Yeah, it's just the perfect keep.
Playing around days that I'm not even convinced Kieran plays. Oh, no, 2 more lands. That's just how you play Magic. You don't require skill or talent.
No.
You just just have to draw the lands when you need them.
Okay. I'm
I'm
learning.
Yep. Yeah, just so now from 1 lander I've got 3 lands, Tameo, and sleight of hand on the battlefield.
Just
Dueling
always
Tameo is
trust
an
your deck.
interesting one.
Always trust your deck.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, in the decks in real life, you can always trust it. When it's on arena, it's always going to screw you over. But when it's on
Oh
paper,
yeah. Online, it's just like everybody's against you. At least in person, you get to shuffle your own deck. It's your own stupid fault.
Exactly. That's exactly how my brain works. So it's totally accurate, and nothing's wrong with that line of thought at all.
Mm-hmm. 2 lots of random are not equal.
Yeah. Looks like a removal spell. Yep, she's been slashed with flame. And while this isn't great, because these clues will definitely add up for Kieran, I'm not taking any damage, although this Ragavan will do some damage. Careful.
But we did have a true name.
Yes.
And
I think this is one of the main reasons I kept.
Yes.
This is a house against Kieran. Does he play any Wraths at all? I don't think he does. He has Brotherhood's End,
okay,
which is damage, so that doesn't do it. He does, his only Wrath is Brotherhood's End, which is damage, so it doesn't kill a true name. So there's literally no way in Kieran's deck to kill a true name.
I think Terminus is the answer.
Oh yes, that's true, Terminus, which is fine for me if he's trying to go wide to catch up to a true name, because obviously it's going to screw him a bit, but there's currently no white mana on his side of the board. So it's a little bit awkward to just white true name is still a pointed card, it's still so powerful. But you want to attack with the true name, right? You want to be getting in for 3 every turn, it's really powerful.
But not against a Ragavan.
No, and who knows what else, Kieran's going to slam down here. Got the white source though. Well, no, that polluted delta, so that's fine.
If he was playing black, he'd have black sources as well, but he's chickened out, so...
And he'd have Edict, maybe. Cheeky little shoulders Edict to get rid of this true-name nemesis.
Easy peasy.
But it's not the end of the world for Kieran here either. He can still... If I can't attack, he's got this Tameo chipping in, drawing. You can keep drawing the cards off the clues. He's
chipping in.
Chipping in is... I'm being generous.
I don't think Tameo counts as chipping in.
She's chipping in mentally.
Yeah. It's like attacking with a crab,
I can see all those
right?
cards. Yeah. You can see all those cards being drawn and it's doing psychic damage to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so Kieran's still drawing 2 cards this turn, right? And if that's all of his plan, he doesn't follow up with anything on his main phase. What am I doing on my turn? Yeah, I might have just wasted this turn while he keeps drawing more cards. So it isn't a terrible line for Kieran at all. Like I totally see it. In a perfect world, he wants to try and force his true name to attack, but just more needs to be. He even needs to go a lot wider, or like have a scarier threat or something like that. That I feel the need to try and push through a better clock or something.
Considering what we were saying in the first 2 games, you actually just want creature removal right now, right? You want Ragavan gone, Tamiyo gone. They are actually problems, both of them, because you can't accelerate to victory. Ooh.
Yes. So this Tamiyo is kind of gone now.
You're just stifling the clue forever until that Tidebinder goes. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, so the clue trigger is stifled right now, and then Tamiyo has no abilities as long as Tidebinder is here.
So now it's no longer sending a message when it attacks.
No, it's just a 0/3. It's never. It will not attack in its current state because it's intimidated by this merfolk. Again, the flavour of this is lost on me a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so there's a removal spell for it. So okay, Tamiyo's back and swinging.
So it resolved, and then kill that.
Yeah, it resolved, but it didn't achieve anything. Draw a couple from Flame, which obviously flipped the Tamiyo, which is also scary. It's somewhat easier though, because obviously the true name can always attack the Tamiyo if I really need it to. Kieran only having a D30, I think, that day. That's what he's got to. Anyway, this Tamiyo is not as scary as it could be because the true name can just keep chipping in at it, so it's probably not going to get to 7.
Tamiyo can't target it.
No, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's not target. It's whenever a creature attacks, it gets -1/-0.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So the Tamiyo is relevant against true name, but like.
Well, it just
Not-
slows it down. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can always spend a couple of turns investing in a Tamiyo if I feel like I can and I need to. Because you just can't block a true name. But it is a good threat, and Kieran's still got potentially a counter spell open here. With his 1 and a white. 1 and a blue, sorry. Well, a white and a blue. That's basically what he's representing. Or potentially double white if he wants to unexpectedly absent something. That doesn't seem very likely. Ajani's, we're just seeing Modern Horizons 1 and 2 drop legendary creatures in this match today.
Okay. That's Tamiyo, Ragavan, Ajani. It.
And this is me being super excited because he's tapped out. Should have known that wouldn't work because this Wrath of the Skies would have killed all of his non-land permanents and left my true name alone.
Yeah.
Did take out a dress down though, which is important because it would have removed the protection ability from true name. So although that was pretty bad for me, it still had upside, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting that Kieran had to pitch that. So does that tell you that he's out of blue cards?
That would be what I would suspect at this stage, yeah.
Yeah.
But this cat is awesome because this cat can kind of get him for free unless I want to give him a Johnny.
Yep.
Of Johnny Planeswalker as well. So it is a little awkward.
Yeah, there's some cool little interactions going on here, that's for sure.
Yeah, and this is what I say when I like decision-heavy games. Like I don't like games that are just decided by, game 1 I mulled to 5, game 2 like Kieran didn't draw anything. Like I like these types of games where there's points that mattered and we can both feel like we're involved in a game rather than a random number generator that just delivered us things. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Kieran decided to take down his Tamiyo to get back the Flame of Anor. And I'm pretty certain I do take this opportunity to kill the Tamiyo. I think it's just worth it, and I will take a slight hit. Do you have that sneaky Orcish Bowmasters here, which is going to be a massive blowout if Kieran attacks with all. And the fact that I have it is quite well disguised by the fact that true name wants to kill the Tamiyo.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
I'm man leaking something. I'll flame the door. There we go.
Yeah, you just. So that was just going to be drawing cards.
Yeah, just a draw 2.
Yeah.
And then this attack was pretty obvious from my point of view, but this Bowmasters is going to kill both Ajani and Ragavan if Kieran doesn't have any way to stop it. Or
that's pretty nasty.
It.
And
Which is,
the fact that the dress down disappeared gives you some level of confidence that this is happening. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's still a cat, but I'm winning a race against just one cat. Especially as you see, there's a comet in my hand there, which I can't currently cast. So I don't have red mana. But I will eventually be able to cast a comet.
I've seen Comet on the battlefield so many times, and I still don't know what Comet really does. Like, it just takes over wins, but randomly. Like,
Yes,
it's just
in
weird.
in general. Very occasionally you cast a comet and don't win the game if you're already a bit too far behind.
Okay.
But, or you get unlucky and randomly roll the worst one for the situation you're in.
Yeah.
But all of them are good.
Fair
It's
enough.
just there's not a bad one. Even if you just get back a 2-mana thing, it's getting your fetch land back or whatever.
True. That's a Fable. That's a good card.
Yeah. But again, this true name holding back just normal creatures on the ground. This Ponder, I think that's 2 lands and maybe a Ledger Shredder. Seeing Ledger Shredder a lot in these matchups. Here's a Ledger Shredder and some lands. I would suspect I shuffle this. No, I don't. Okay, maybe. Oh, I wanted the blue for Cryptic.
Okay.
I didn't have a third blue source to hold this Cryptic command up.
Yeah.
So I think there was a combination of do I try and dig for a red source for Comet, but no, this triple blue to have this Cryptic is relevant. This Cryptic command has been a little power cracked out. It is a 4-mana essentially counter spell, but it does have a lot of utility. Like it does a bunch of other stuff. And then a couple of cards pitched to the
For
Fable
sure.
trigger as well.
There's new common counter spell in the current in Foundations Limited, and the fact that it counters and loots is just massive.
Yep.
Okay, so Cryptic Command did not counter the White Plume.
No, it was remanded, so it's
But
still
it
in my
goes back
hand,
to
so I can
hand.
use it again. And I think, if you hear Kieran now, I think he's just playing this again to make me attack, because he cannot win if he doesn't make me attack with this true name. But if I attack with this true name to get the initiative, which I kind of want to, because I want the red source for the Caster's Comet, and I do have a basic mountain in my deck.
Okay.
And I'm also leaving myself open to the initiative being taken right back, and taking 7 damage and all of that stuff. So
Yeah, the initiative really does just.
That does not.
You can't let like Kieran's just saying, well, you could just let me have the initiative.
Go and get my
As you
basic mountain.
say,
Thank God I
that's
put a
not
basic mountain
exactly
into my
optimal.
deck.
no,
There's value there to be had, and
Yeah, it's flashing red now.
I don't know, it slows Kieran down, and you get the value.
yeah, and I
See
think
why it's not that great a mechanic in a lot of people's eyes.
yes, but you can also see that's why I haven't introduced it. Like I said, haven't put it in my deck because I don't think this race benefits me. This race benefits Kieran if it's allowed to go on,
Yep.
totally fine. But here is the Wonder Dog. Comet the Wonder Dog. 5 is the damage one, I think. Yeah, so it gets to shoot the White Plume, which is good. But yeah, makes squirrels or returns a thing or deals damage, or also
seems fine.
goes again. So all of them, removal spell, regrowth, 2 squirrels, all powerful effects. There's nothing bad there at all. It's a bit of an obnoxious card.
Interesting. One of the things that we were talking about recently in control decks is the fact that control decks now play so many creatures, and the answer has always been, well, because there's so much value to be gained from the creatures nowadays that you just play the creatures because they do the things that your spells would have done, but they've got a body attached to them. But there's also the element of the monarchs less so, but the initiative, as that's been introduced, you just need creatures to. You can just lose the game if you're not playing any creatures, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now we have dueling comets. We had dueling Tamios, now it's dueling comets. Kieran unfortunately probably got what is probably the worst one for him in terms of just reanimating a thing. He'd like to a damage one would. It doesn't kill comet because I think it only goes to creature or player, so he couldn't kill a comet. But he can potentially kill a comet with what's on board if he sends both of them out to comet. But he also wants to send one of them ideally at me to get the initiative back, which means, if my head's just right in the way there, that's really helpful. I think this is me trying to guess what he's going to get back from graveyard. But it's an interesting decision point for Kieran, where if I've got a removal spell, sending both at comet is really bad. If I've got a removal spell, sending just one of them at me is also bad because I'll probably protect the initiative and then let comet take one. He's decided to split them, and I will do the thing. I've managed to save myself the initiative for a turn, potentially anyway, unless manually. Nope, I haven't saved myself the initiative for a turn. I lied through my teeth.
But yeah, no, I like that's a really cool decision that maybe I wouldn't have noticed either. Like, Kieran does need the initiative back.
Yep. But he has left me with Comet, which again, if I roll well, is really good.
Yeah.
Putting it on a 1 makes it a little rougher. You know, like 2 of the abilities minus. So if I do hit them, then I will kill my Comet, whether I want to or not.
Right, got you.
And obviously this is the Ajani he got back after flipping his Comet. So this is me doing the Comet thing. This is just Squirrels. Squirrel's not doing a huge amount here.
Attack you with just my true name.
Yeah, just sending in the true name. Just Squirrels
I mean,
holding back here.
Yeah,
Just
I
do
was
some
gonna
block.
say it's not the worst. Not the worst option.
And this is me. Am I going to the Forge? Am I going to Scry? I think if I think this game's going quickly, I need to shove some counters on this true name.
Yeah,
and hope for the best.
true name's the win con right now. So
Yeah, but again, it seems
You've got
There's-
two in hand.
there's a lot of damage on Kieran's board. I do still have this Cryptic, which again can, if he doesn't have counter spells, can save me for a turn because it can tap his team.
yeah, that,
And
that
also
hidden mode on Cryptic Command that doesn't often get used.
Yeah, exactly. So it's potentially like I can save myself one more, and if that does work and he's got nothing else to go with, this is 4. So that is the damage one, I think, on Comet, and a bit of a waste sending it. Yeah, he tries to target the Comet, but it doesn't do that.
It's after that.
And he goes to creature or player. So a bit of a waste sending it at a Squirrel because you're already definitely getting the initiative back.
I
'cause there's
love
not
the
enough- comment.
comment from Kieran saying, "Has that not been errated?" Comet is way more recently than recently
They
printed.
decided Comet shouldn't kill other planeswalkers. They're a good loyal dog. They don't kill planeswalkers. You know, they kill players. I'm not sure how that works on a
Yeah,
flavor.
no, yeah, because players are planeswalkers, right?
Yes. So that's a bit of a flavor fail.
Oh,
But again, that's Kieran not getting great hits off of his Comet, whereas I didn't get absurd ones, but they're solid.
Counter tap the team.
Yeah, and I think any spell Kieran Castio is enough for me to counter tap because I have lethal if he can't make more blockers with Trap and True Name and the Squirrels.
Is this not just a mistake even casting something pre-combat then?
Probably. It depends on what else he thinks he might be able to do here. Like, it's not the end of the world for me if he doesn't cast anything. Like, it's still tap and draw a card,
Yeah,
which is not terrible. But like, I would much rather guarantee counter literally whatever Kieran does, I think, than have one, because if this is all he's got, then I have lethal because I have Trap down to 7 and then 7 points of damage on board from True Name and Squirrels. And I have a counter spell in hand, I'm pretty certain.
Okay.
So if I can't cast it this turn, which is risky because I don't have double blue.
Better than a cheaper
It looks like
but
the decision point here for Kieran is whether to use the goblin, the what's it called, the mirror breaker.
Reflection of Kiki Jiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't do a lot because it's non-legendary. So it doesn't make an Ajani that he's then sacked to the legendary rule.
But,
which
you,
is what I think
but because you sacrifice it end step, you could make a copy of the cat that gets sacrificed that then flips a Johnny.
Yes, but he wouldn't be able to activate him this turn because we've gone through main phases and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're still going to
makes
do that because it's a perfectly reasonable line. It just means the Ajani won't do anything until next turn.
Yep.
Which again doesn't matter to me if I do kill him next turn, which I'm hoping I can with the counter spell backup, especially if he just passes the turn here, which is obviously what I'm hoping for.
Where's your lethal? Is it just rolling from Comet?
Oh no, there's 5 from Trap from the
Oh, Trap, of course. I forgot about Trap.
thingy. Yeah, going to end step.
5 life is so massive.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, this is me being confused about what he's doing. I didn't realize he's gone to end step, and now I feel great because I trap and upkeep down to 7. I've got a counter spell in hand, and I've got 7 damage on board.
Yep.
So I feel fairly insured, but we're going to roll this Comet first because why would you not? It might be more squirrels.
For this Comet, I will shoot him for
It's
3.
damage, so I shoot him for 3, which makes just the True Name lethal now. So hope this is almost certainly done, as it were. There's not been a terminus so far, so yep, there we go.
Scooping it up. All right, what a cool match. Yeah, I do like watching those. So many decisions. Interesting. Were there windows there for Kieran to get through? Depends what's in his hand, I suppose.
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
This is 5, 6, 7.
so yeah, petty theft and a path, but with me having counter spell snap.
So you'd have been
Another
able
bounce.
to protect it anyway.
Yeah, so he should have petty thefted my comet in upkeep. That was definitely true, but it wouldn't actually have mattered because I had enough things in my hand to force through the damage anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
the first comment was.
The problem was, I think, when he.
Yeah.
I think we discussed it here that the main point was when he didn't get back a counter spell when he -2'd the comet and got back a Johnny for pressure because he knew I had a cryptic in hand that had been remanded.
Yeah, very
So
true.
there's
Okay.
a lot of like swingy damage there.
That is probably a mistake. Right, well, thank you very much for joining us. That was really fun. And we'll catch you next time. Cheers, James.
Cheers.